What's up, guys? This is Josh Nelson with the Seven Figure Agency, and as you can see, I've got Chris Johnstone here with me. We're in our studio in Miami, Florida, the Seven Figure Agency studio. And recently I had Chris on the podcast, the Seven Figure Agency podcast, and we were interviewing him on his growth and on his success, how he grew to multiple seven figures. And he started sharing something that he did in his business that was different, that made a massive difference in his ability to grow and scale. And that was kind of putting appointment setters and like a concierge service in place to follow up with not his own leads exclusively, but with the leads he was generating for his clients. And I loved this idea, something I've been thinking about for quite some time in our agency. And as we released the podcast, we got tons of feedback from our members, from people in the high-level community, from other agencies wanting to learn how he did it, how they could do something similar. And so I was like, all right, this is obviously a topic of interest. And so I talked to Chris and I said, hey, Chris, any chance you'd be willing to come and unpack this for us deeper? And we're all blessed and fortunate to have Chris here. And on this video, he's going to be sharing some more insights on kind of that journey and kind of how he was able to put that in place.
Yeah, absolutely.
Excellent. So if you run a digital marketing agency and you're trying to figure out how you can generate better results for your clients, like not just better SEO results, but a better tangible, measurable return on investment, retain your clients at a higher level, have a higher ticket that you can charge on a monthly basis, and open up new streams of profitability, you're going to want to watch this video. This is going to be game-changing information that you're not going to find anywhere else. So let's get into it. If you're watching this video and you don't know who we are, my name is Josh Nelson. I'm the founder of Seven Figure Agency. I also run a digital marketing agency called Plumbing and HVAC SEO that serves hundreds of plumbing and HVAC companies across the country, multiple seven-figure business. So, we made the Inc. 5000 list of fastest growing companies 4 years in a row. And
I didn't know 4 years in a row. That's amazing.
Thanks.
I'm Chris Johnstone, and I own Connection Incorporated. We serve the mortgage and financial services industry, and our agency is also a multiple seven-figure agency. We're very blessed that way. And what I discovered and what I'm going to be teaching you here today is how we bolted on an additional $1,083,063 in revenue and created over $700,000 in profit from this thing that we kind of just stumbled across in our agency. So I'm really thankful to be here to share this with everybody in the agency space. I think this is really going to help our community because it transformed our agency. It has created happier clients that stay with us longer, that pay us more money, and our reputation in the industry has actually benefited tremendously because we're actually now solving the largest problem that our clients have, which makes us incredibly unique in the industry. So now we're completely different when we get on a consult and we're trying to sell our services. We're completely unique. The other thing that it's done for us is it's given us a new pathway that we can sell through where we're getting higher quality clients with larger budgets that are actually able to then grow our agency because we get them on the concierge service and then they buy all our digital marketing services out the back end. So I'm really excited to share this with everybody.
So that's all of the bragging we're going to do, right? We're both pretty humble guys. We're here to serve you. You've got the opportunity to learn from two multiple seven-figure agency owners with a very innovative option that can help you accelerate your growth and differentiate your agency. So let's get into it. So if you run a digital marketing agency, you know that kind of the common struggle is we do our thing, right? And we generate the leads for the client, whatever mechanism that is, and they don't convert those leads. And so of course they look at us and say, well, you're not generating the ROI. What was it in your world that helped you kind of think through this whole concierge concept?
The concierge concept actually came out of frustration for our clients because in our digital marketing agency, we were doing SEO, we were doing YouTube ads, Google ads, Facebook ads, and we had one client that we were absolutely crushing it for. So he was ranked on the front page of Google, getting phone calls from there. We had his Facebook ads up and running, Google ads up and running, leads were coming in, it was great. He called in, canceled the program. And I could not believe that he was canceling. And the feedback was, we're not closing business from the leads that you were generating. I said, there's no way. So out of just frustration and maybe whatever, I decided to start calling the leads myself. I was like, there's no way all these leads are bad. And I started making good connections with good people that were great leads. And I had this epiphany. And what I ultimately came down to is, this is a mortgage professional. he's not a professional appointment setter. He's really good at closing mortgage deals. The plumbers are really good at doing the plumbing. The HVAC guys are good at doing the HVAC. None of them care about conversion of leads. It's like, it's a hassle when their phone goes off because it stops them from doing their whatever it is. And that's in every single business. And so I ran the worst job ad ever in the history. I was just like, I need somebody to call leads, please, basically is what I put out there. And I think that there was a little bit of just universal alignment in what I was doing, because I had a guy who was on my social media who reached out to me and said, Chris, I've been following you for years. My job is converting cold leads into appointments. That's my career. And he opened me up to the fact that there's an entire industry of people that just focus on turning appointments into actual qualified sales appointments. I didn't know that. I thought there was closers and that was it. And so he came in and was like, I'm going to take these leads and I'm going to convert them. And so we worked on leads for a couple of our clients where we just picked a handful, did it for a couple of weeks, and the results were unbelievable. Like, we doubled the amount of appointments that we were generating from the leads. We didn't change anything about the leads. All we did was put the concierge in place and doubled the results. So what I ended up doing is I said to, his name is Dennis, I said, Dennis, what I want you to do is I want you to call my customers. I want you to call our past consults, and I want you to pitch the concierge service for these new customers. And so he came in, proved that it worked, and then set up all the sales consultations for me to actually sell the program. And that cascaded off into what is now our concierge service and over $1 million in revenue in 23 months and all of that. And ultimately what we've figured out how to do is to create a transformational result with our client. And in video number 2, I've got a presentation for us where I'm going to show you how we actually took it to the next level. But for right now, what we want to focus on is the basics of the opportunity that you have right now so that you understand how to implement this in your agency and actually get a result from it, if that's okay.
No, that sounds great. And so, the basis of entrepreneurship, right, is to find a problem and to solve it, right? And so, as an agency, you can throw your hands up and say, I'm generating leads and they can't convert. That's a problem. I don't know what to do. Or you can look for the solve, which when you solve problems, that results in profitability, right? Profitably solving problems. So let's get into that.
All right, so through the magic of video editing, we're going to take you in here and show you a transformational, very simple thing that you can install in your agency to make more profit, get happier customers, and ultimately make your day-to-day running of your agency more fun and more profitable. So what we have over here is a poorly drawn mountain. And this is us in our agency. And what we're all focused on is generating leads for our clients, getting them on the front page of Google, running SEO, running Facebook ads, running Google ads, doing all of the things to generate the leads for our clients. And then what we're doing is we're putting them into a CRM and we're sending them over to the clients. Now over here, what's happening in the business every day of your clients is they're climbing their own mountain, aren't they? They're just trying to get by and do business, right? They're just trying to get a customer at the end of the day. So here we are over here, and even if we're at the pinnacle, and we're the best at what we do in our marketing agency, and we're crushing it. They're launched on the front page of Google. They're getting phone calls every day. Facebook leads are kicking. Everything's going great. We all love that point in our agency, right? But what we're doing is we're now sending these leads off into the ether of the client's control in order to generate the results. And over here, this guy might have an assistant where he's like, hey, it's your job to follow up on the leads and book the appointments. It's your job to get the appointments. Or even worse, it's the business owner trying to do it themselves. And when you're running a business, you don't have time for all of the day-to-day responsibilities, especially the fires that pop up. So what they're doing is they're not actually picking up the leads in real time. We all know if you call a lead back in the first 10 minutes, you're going to get an exponential better result for that lead. And so here we have the gap. And this gap right here is where we're going to find all of this new profit and provide a better experience for the client so they make more money. Therefore, we make more money. They're happier. They generate a better result. They buy more services from you, and they stick with you longer. And inside the gap is what we have as a concierge. Now, this concierge is a professional appointment setter. I'm going to say that again. This is a professional appointment setter. And the reason why I say that is because many of you might be thinking like, oh, hey, I can get my kid who's in college who has a little bit extra time to make these calls and fill this in. Or there's lots of other ways that people have tried to solve this problem. But what I've discovered after investing over $200,000 of our own money in hiring and training and bringing people through is that this concierge needs to be a professional who has previously already set appointments because they know how to open up a conversation. They know how to build value. They know how to qualify the lead so that the lead is actually a customer that ends up in the business. And that concierge creates this bridge so that your leads turn into money in the client's business without them having to do any additional effort. So if you were able to go to one of your clients and say, hey, I'm not just going to generate leads for you. I'm going to generate qualified sales appointments that turn into customers. And we're going to measure how many sales appointments you get, how many deals you close, and what your return is on that investment. And we're going to do all of that inside your CRM. Would that be a more valuable service to your clients and customers? Would that be something that would retain your clients for longer? And does it give you a whole new differentiating proposition in your agency that nobody else has that you can charge more for? That's what the concierge is. And that's how we're filling the gap and creating much better results for our clients in our agencies.
All right, so that, I mean, great example, right? It makes sense in theory, but I think the question we all have, myself included, is it's one thing to think, okay, I'm going to call these people, I'm going to put this concierge in place. Maybe it will work, maybe it won't. Can we hear like a real tangible example of like how this actually impacted your clients that you're working with?
Absolutely. So what we've got is a case study here on one of the larger scale mortgage companies that we've done this process with. And so the only thing that we changed with this organization is we put a concierge in place in order to make the phone calls to convert the leads, and then added just a couple of text messages in conjunction with that process. That was the only change that we made. Now, they're very good at tracking their numbers, so we have this data. So before we started running our concierge, they were booking 11% of their inbound online marketing leads into an actual appointment. And as soon as we started our test, for 3 months, we took that to 20%. So from 11% to 20%. So we almost doubled the opportunities of the actual sales presentations that their sales team was generating. Now, that's great, but if that's not turning into business, if that's not actually dropping to the bottom line of the company, we're not going to retain that client for longer. They're not going to pay us more money. They're not going to become more profitable. So check out these numbers down here. So all of those people that went through that process, they closed an additional 165 transactions in a quarter. That's in 90 days, creating an additional $580,000 in revenue for their company in a 90-day period. And the only thing that we changed was adding a concierge into their business. Now, this is really cool because this is just talking about converting more of the online leads that you're generating for your customers. But we actually had, well, it's a little bit of a story. So we had a client of ours that was a friend of mine. And we came in and we did this in his business. He got to know his concierge really well, loved it, and he was going on vacation for a month. And he called us back and he said, Chris, there's really only 3 ways that I grow my business. I have referrals from my past customers. I have referrals from referral partners, and in the mortgage industry, that's realtors and financial planners and that sort of thing. And he had calls going out to them. And then he was like, and then I've got your guys in your online lead generation. But those are the 3 ways that I grow my business. This concierge is crushing it so much for me. Could you have them call my past clients and call my referral partners while I'm away on vacation for the next month? What we discovered there was absolutely transformational for the results that we're generating for him. And we're really gonna unpack that in video number 2 because I wanna stay focused on the results that we're generating because I've also got something really cool for you. Because these results here, increased revenue, increased profit, you can also do that for your agency. So now what I wanna do is I wanna show you the statistics from our agency and what happened when we implemented a concierge with our services. So now let's look at making your agency more profitable. So what I've got up here on the screen is our webinar stats from the last 30-ish days, the last 3 webinar presentations that we've done. Now, I want you to understand that this translates across all of your opt-ins. So if you're giving away free PDF reports, whatever it is that you're doing for your lead generation in your agency, this is the type of bump that we've seen in our agency. So you can see here that in the last 32 days, we've had 576 people register for our webinars, and we've had 144 of them attend. Now, I'm a member of the 7-Figure Agency, and we're getting better with those numbers because of what we're learning over there, but these are what the numbers are, so it's math, right? The automated sales from the webinar, so people that were on the webinar, went to the link, and purchased the product, we converted at 4.86%, right? So almost 5%, which, again, we're improving. But now check this out. Every single person who registers for that webinar gets a phone call from our executive concierge in our office. And they reach out and they say, hey, look, you may not have had time to sit through a 45-minute presentation. Would you like to get on the phone with us, and we'll give you a one-on-one presentation and show you how you can use what you registered. We know you're interested in it. We'll show you how to implement that in your business one-on-one. Would you be interested in that? And we booked 17.36% of those people into a consult. So 25 sales appointments that we would not have had if we didn't have an executive concierge making those calls to those webinar registrants. And that generated an additional 9 sales, or 6.25%. So our conversion ratio on the money that we collected from the event went from 4.86% to 11%. We more than doubled the amount of sales. We went from 7 sales over here to 9 sales over here. We doubled the profitability of the event that we were running just as a result of having an executive concierge make those calls in the business. Now, what I want to do for the first time ever is really just open up, and I'm going to show you the stats from our agency for the entire year, okay? So I'm a little bit nervous right now putting this out. So no judgment, be kind. And in the comments, if you've learned something up until this point, or even if you see a sticking point, like, hey, I could see this working, but what about this? Leave that in the comments below. We are making this training to help you as an agency owner and take you to the next level, make you more profitable, help you retain more customers. So let us know what your questions are, because we will create the training to help you with it. So leave those comments below. Let us know what you think thus far, okay? So last year, from January to December, we did a grand total of 757 sales presentations. So those are people that actually showed up on a consultation as a result of our marketing in our agency. Now, on those sales presentations, we closed 143 sales, or 18.89%. Again, good, not great, but fantastic little business there, right? Now, check out what happened when we put the executive concierge on the phone making calls to the people that did presentations with us but did not close on the presentation. And I want to stop here for just 1 second, because you might be thinking, well, Chris, I do my own sales follow-up. So do I. And I can tell you that I get busy. And the professionalism of getting a call once a week from somebody who's happy and friendly, that just wants to connect with that person. And they're not professional salespeople, they're appointment setters, right? It's just like, I'm checking in, you had the presentation, what did you think? Can we get you back on the phone? Did you have any questions? What came up? And we're closing sales 7 months down the road, 8 months down the road, 9 months down the road, and it's almost like free money in the agency. Because if it was up to me in order to make those sales follow-ups, 8 months, 9 months down the road, I'm not gonna make those phone calls. And the emails aren't going to convert them. It's the phone calls of the real person. And we have had many customers that come into the business and be like, you guys are so professional with your sales follow-up. I'm buying because nobody else does this. And I trust that you can help me grow my business because you have the professionalism to close me on this thing. And we deal with professional salespeople all day long, right? Salespeople love to be sold. This is what's selling them. But again, we don't have to do the work, right? I can spend time with my kids at the beach. I can do all of those wonderful things, have my lifestyle, but know that my sales are getting done in the agency. So check this out. The follow-up, we did 208 additional sales last year as a result of the concierge on the phone making those follow-ups. That's an additional 27%. So we sold more sales on the follow-up than we did on the initial sales presentations. So 27%, our total sales ratio, because these automated sales, these are people that are coming in on the webinars and just going through our online sales funnels and actually purchasing the products from us without anybody being involved at all. So there was another 10% bump there. So we sold a total of 56% of those consults for a total of 429 sales. 208 of them came into our agency as a result of an executive concierge following up on the sales presentation. So I want you to think back over the last year that you've had. How many sales presentations did you do? If you were to close double of the amount of sales that you've made up until this point, what would your recurring revenue look like in your agency right now? What would your profit margins look like in your agency right now? This is an immediate bolt-on that's very easy to implement in the agency, that's fun, that actually generates you a better result, and you get to provide a better result to your client as well, having the concierge. So that's the next concept that we're going to unpack in video number 2, is how does all this work? What are the components? What do you need in the business in order to make this work? It's far less expensive than you think it might be. And we're really going to show you how to take that next leap and generate much better results so that your retention is better. But first, I want to go over some of the most commonly asked questions that I got after we did the podcast episode to just give you some more value on this presentation.
All right, Chris, this is awesome. And you know, I know that we've kind of dropped a lot of information here, but there's also been some questions after the podcast I wanted to make sure we answered for you as a listener or as a viewer. You mind if we kind of get into a couple of these?
Please.
Okay.
Yeah, absolutely.
So the first is, I can't afford to get a concierge, right? It's like, okay, I run my agency, you tell me to hire a new concierge. How would I be able to afford this?
I thought the exact same thing when I first got started. And that's why I only ran a 2-week test just to see if the model would work. I knew I had done it for myself, but could somebody else generate those results? And that's how I discovered that concierges were actually a thing. And so if you feel like you don't have the money in your agency to invest, what actually happens, and what I'd like to walk you through, is you having the concierge come in and book your sales appointments to sell the program up front. And what that does is it makes it so that you're really only at risk for the first 14 days, and then you're closing sales from the appointments that the concierge has booked for you. So you never really come out of pocket for the concierge, and you have the asset in 30 days, and you can just have that person continue to book sales appointments for you so that you can continue to grow your agency and hire another one in order to actually deliver the service to the clients, or you can just take that initial one and have them deliver the service. So you can actually get this up and running with really no upfront cost in order to run it in the agency.
I love that. I love that. I'd love to hear more about that as well. Mm-hmm. The other question is, like, we all, as agency owners, we've heard to focus on your core competency,
yes.
right? Be really good at one thing. Be really good at your websites or your SEO or your pay-per-click. And this feels maybe like it could become a distraction or a detraction against what you're trying to do for the clients.
Yeah. So for that, really 2 points. And the first is that Josh and I have, in being here, we're starting to work on something that's going to help you with that, where we're systemizing our standard operating procedures and everything that we have in the agency to give to other agencies. And we're going to figure out how to do that. And through this video series, we'll unpack that. But the other thing that I wanted to share with you is that when we look at the executive model of an executive concierge, one thing that we're doing that other people aren't is that we're hiring professionals that already know how to do the job. And we have we have done a lot of this over the last 2 years. So our job descriptions, how we interview the people, how we bring them in, how we train them when they get started, you have a professional appointment setter that you really have to do very little training with. Now, they need daily accountability, and that's either you or, again, we're working on putting together a solution for that. We'll tell you about that later in the video series. But you can get this to a point where this person actually frees more of your time than you invest in actually having them in the business, because they're the ones that are producing a better result for your client. They're the one that is producing a better sales opportunity for you in your agency. So it actually ends up saving you more time than it ends up costing you to have an executive concierge in the business.
Yeah, and I would say you can just kind of add to that. You want to expand your thought of what your core competency is, right? You're not a web designer or an SEO person. Really, your job is to generate leads and sales for your clients. And I think anything you can do to be better on that front is something worth investing your energy in as a business.
Absolutely. I couldn't agree more.
Okay, well, there's one more in here I want to make sure we get to, and that's, I don't have the time. I don't have the time to roll this out. We're already busy as it is, landing clients and trying to deliver the results.
Yeah, absolutely. So the time invested in actually bringing this person on is less time than it takes to write an autoresponder sequence for one of your clients or to really map out a new website layout for somebody. I mean, we do all of that agency work. It's far less of my time to manage the concierge than it is to actually have them running in the business, because a concierge makes between 100 to 150 phone calls a day. So they check in every morning on Slack with a template that we're going to share with you in the video series, and then at the end of the day they check out with a quick message. And I have a scorecard, and they're either winning or they're not. And if they're not, then I have to get involved in the actual process. But at this point, with the scripts that we have dialed in, the follow-up sequences that we have dialed in, they're all winning on their scorecards, so it requires no input from me. They check themselves in, they check themselves out, and I know from a management perspective if I need to step in at any point, so it really takes very little time every week.
Awesome. Great questions, great answers. Guys, if you have other questions, you're thinking this through, you're like, will this work for me, or why it won't, put those in the comments so we can make sure to answer those questions for you. Chris, those sales stats are great, and I love seeing what the impact can be when you put this in place. And I guess as we were talking through this, I thought it'd be really helpful not just to see how much sales, but how did this generate in terms of revenue and profitability? Because that's a whole nother level to this process. Yeah. And so Chris was nice enough to kind of peel back the curtain a little bit further.
Yeah, so the team was nice enough to go through. And Josh, I love your congruency with your audience, because you're like, if we're going to do this, I need to know the math. I need to know the actual numbers. So as a result of selling the concierge service in our agency in the last 23 months, we've generated an additional $1,040,000 and $40,023 in the agency, and our profit off of that, after paying the concierge and paying for everything to deliver that service, our profit was $849,648. So very high margin, and it's just the thing that I am really passionate about with sharing this information for you is we're getting paid to create a better result for our client. I would technically give this to our clients for free because it makes them stick longer. So I make more profit in the agency as a result of having the product. They're happier, they refer more customers. We have an ascension model that we're gonna teach you in video number 3. It's created all of this other opportunity. So this is like a cherry on top.
Love it, so clear, such great practical examples. Give us a comment here if you like the fact that Chris is sharing exact numbers and you have concrete examples. Yeah. So kind of as we wrap up this video, I think a couple things you need to think through. Do you believe if you put a concierge calling the leads on the back end of your clients and working those opportunities, they would get better results?
Yeah.
Right? And do you believe if they got better results, a more tangible, measurable return on investment, they'd be willing to pay more for that, they would stay with you longer, they'd be more likely to refer you to others?
Yeah.
Right?
Absolutely.
And then the other question is, do you believe if you had a concierge that was trained, an appointment setter that was following up with your leads in your agency, you'd be able to land more clients, you'd be able to convert at a higher level?
Yeah.
Right?
Absolutely.
And so I think the absolute answer in my mind is yes to all of this. And so it kind of begs the question, thanks for the opportunity. Now, how do we plug this in? How would we hire the concierge? How much do we pay them? How do we train them? Like, what does the math look like to actually generate that kind of profitability on this type of service so that you don't drop the ball on the clients?
That's right.
And so I've asked Chris to unpack that for us on video 2. So just post video 2 in comments here if you're excited to dive into that.
And additional questions. If there's something that has come up here and you're just looking for, hey, it won't work because of this, or I need help with this, let us know, because your comments are what's going to help drive the content in this video series. And we really want to make this as valuable as possible for you. So let us know in the comments what you think. And If you're part of an agency group online and you feel that this would help another agency owner, please go ahead and share this information and get this out to as many agency owners as we can. I truly believe that this model can help transform the lives of agency owners and make a better life where we run more successful agencies that get better results for our clients, and we're able to do that in a way where we're actually able to make more money but work less in our agencies. So if you can help us get that message out there, I think that would be super helpful. So make sure you share this as well.